Hi Stampers, this is Susan Petty-Baylor. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from West Hartford, Connecticut in the United States. And today I wanted to share some projects that I made using the Blossoms in Bloom and Many Layered Dies bundle. This Blossoms in Bloom stamp set is a distinctive photopolymer stamp set, meaning that it's photorealistic. There's a lot more depth and detail to the stamp than you would find with a regular red rubber or photopolymer stamp. So it just gives you a lot of really beautiful details. And if you can purchase the stamp set separately from the die set, but if you purchase the two of them together as a bundle, you get a 10% discount, and who doesn't love a sale? This is one of the cards that I used making this bundle. This is my July thank you card for all of my customers who purchased from me through my online website during the month of July. So every month I make a different card, and those customers will get the card to be used at a later date. It's blank inside, and they can use it however they like. I wanted to, before we get started with stamping, I wanted to share a couple of updates with you. On August 4th, the August through December catalog will be going live. It's formerly known as the Holiday Catalog. August through December catalog just doesn't roll off your tongue the same way that Holiday Catalog does, but okay. It's still mostly, Halloween, Christmas, etc., Thanksgiving, holidays, and so that will go live on August 4th. And then also on August 4th, demonstrators will be able to purchase the cut and emboss machine that Stampin' Up! Will start to sell. It'll be available to customers, I believe, on September 1st. With COVID, there have been some shipping and manufacturing issues, and so those machines weren't available when the annual catalog went live at the beginning of June. But like I said, demonstrators will be able to get a hold of the machine, the full-size one. The mini isn't supposed to be coming out until December, I think, but the full-size machine will be available to customers I believe September 1st. I'll have the month of August to get my hands on one and play with it, see if I like it, tell you a little bit about it, and maybe towards the end of August I'll be able to sanitize it and lend it out to a few customers who might be interested in purchasing, so you can get a feel for what it might be like. Normally you'd be able to do that coming to my house for stamping classes, but yeah, COVID land. This is also the final week for the bonus days sale. For every $50 that you purchase during the month of July and up to August 3rd, Stampin' Up! Will send you a coupon for $5 off to be used during the month of August. They will expire at the end of August. There's no limit to the number of coupons that you can earn. The $50 is before tax and shipping, so you would get one coupon if you purchased $50. If you purchased $100, you would get two coupons. You can do, two $50 purchases and get two coupons, or one $100 purchase and get two coupons. You get the drift. But it does have to be at least $50 or more. If it's $49.99, doesn't work, unfortunately. So, but there's just a few more days left. It's October 3rd. I'm not even sure what day of the week it is right now, in retirement and COVID land. I'm not sure what day of the week it is today, but you have several days left. I think it's Monday. It's August 3rd. So you have a few days left to make any purchases and get those bonus days coupons. So I think that's it for my announcements. So let's go to the stamp table and let's get started. Okay, this is the card we're going to be making today. This is my July thank you card for my customers, and we're going to use this Blossoms in Bloom stamp set. And it also has the many layered blossoms dies to go with it. The other large die is in play. Some of the smaller flowers, this big layer. I get, magnetic vent cover sheets. I think they come in a 2-pack. I buy them at Home Depot, and I just cut them with a scissors or my cutter, and to whatever size that I want, and I just attach it to the inside of my stamp case. And then I have all kinds of red dots on the outside to let me know that I have coordinating dies for the stamp set inside. So as you can see, this is a very large stamp, and with this overlay, you want to be careful that you are stamping, that you get your stamp down in the right position. Now you could use a stamp positioner tool. Stampin'Up sells one. It's called Stamparatus, which I have. It works great, but I wanted to show you how to do this without a Stamparatus. Quick and easy as well. And so what I did was I took the more intricate die cut. I took the whole, this is a 5.5 by 4.25 piece of cardstock, and I laid this on here. And then I took my stamp, and I laid my stamp onto the cutout. It's not exact, but generally. So that I could, I'm going to take this now and use the 5.25 by 4-inch vanilla piece that I'm going to use. And I can line this up, and this is about where I decided I wanted it. And you see these little red lines here? And these little tiny dots right here on my grid paper. So I just know to line my cardstock up on those two little dots. I have a piece of temporary adhesive here on my grid paper to keep it from moving around. That usually will do it. And then I know that this is where I want my stamp. So I took an alcohol marker, I took a cherry cobbler marker, and I marked on the wrong side, the back side of the stamp, not the side that you're going to ink, but the back side, with some alcohol marker. And then I just put this on my block. And this is a large block. This is a, I don't have my glasses on, an I block or J block, I forget. And I'm going to ink up this stamp really well. I want to make sure that it's inked well. When you have a stamp this large, you want to have it face up, just like I'm doing, so that you can see exactly where you need inking. You can see, oh, you know, I missed that spot, and you can go back and ink it. If you try to pick it up and ink it on your ink pad, it's just, I find it very cumbersome. I find this to be a super easy way to do it. Then I'm going to take my Calypso Coral and a sponge dauber, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of Calypso Coral, and I want to sponge the centers of my flowers. And because I'm going from a light ink, the Mango Melody, to the darker Calypso Coral, I don't have to worry too much about color transferring, but I still am going to kind of clean it off on my grid paper. Keep doing that and get all the flower centers. And that looks good. Let me just close this up. And because this is photopolymer, I like to use my Stampin' Pierce mat underneath my cardstock so that I get a better stamped image. You know, the photopolymer is great because you can see right through it, but it doesn't have that cushy gray foamy layer that the red rubber has. the red rubber stamps have. So this gives it that little extra cushion. So I'm going to line up those red tick marks, top and bottom, along that bold edge. And I'm going to give this a good press. Excuse me. Make sure I get it well inked. Great. Okay. So now I am going to take my Magenta Madness and I'm going to use this leaf stamp. These little dots are the stamp that is for the center of those flowers. But because I'm going to use the overlay, and there's no way I'm going to get all these little dots lined up to show through the overlay, what I'm going to do instead is to use this little leaf die and stamp a couple of times in the center of the flower because I want the magenta to show through. You could also use a sponge dauber, that would work. But I think this is a little more controllable. I really should have my glasses on, and I don't. Just turn it around until you get magenta stamped where you want. We're going to close that up. And then I'm going to take this overlay because I have it handy. And I'm just going to lay this on top. And I'm going to stamp the flowers. This overlay just helps me position. I've got this one marked right. And I have a couple other little tick marks here and here, and I know that's where it fits into between the flowers. Again, I'm going to take a little of the Calypso Coral, and I'm going to sponge right in the center. And then I'm just going to lift this up. Now, mind you, this is not going to be exact. And I'm going to lay it down. Well, that's pretty darn good. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one marked left, little Mango Melody, Calypso Coral, line the overlay. This is harder for me because it's on the left-hand side. See those two little tick marks? I know that they fit right in here, I think. No. Whoops. Hold on. Let me come back. I think it was right about here. Pretty close. Not exact, but pretty close. And that's okay. This is kind of a watercolor look, and I'm okay with it not being perfect. Also, I can put my sentiment there if that really bugs me. Okay, so I'm going to set these inks aside. Just close those up real quick. And then instead of trying to stamp the leaves, I'm going to use some shaded spruce and my sponge dauber again. Line this up. Now this is a really dark color, and I want to get some of that ink off of there. And I'm just going to sponge this underneath. And I don't mind if it goes out beyond where the leaf is. I just want that little hint of color. And yeah, whoops, sorry for shaking the camera. And with this color, that's not exactly a hint, it's loud and in your face. I'm going to take that and do the same. The hardest part is just trying to keep this in place. Do some more up here. And we'll do some here. If you stick with me to the end of this video, I've got some other color combinations to show you. I had such a good time playing with this for the last couple of days. Okay. Good. So let's put that ink pad away because y'all know how dangerous that is. And then there are a couple different ways that you can attach this layer. This is the one that I'm going to use. I want to use the vanilla layer. A couple ways you can do this. I have a piece of sponge that I cut. Let me just get this pad out from under here, this mat, get it out of my way. Excuse me. And you definitely want a silicone craft sheet to do this. It can be quite the mess if you don't. Take a bit of our multi-purpose liquid glue and a piece of sponge. And this is, here I have some sponges here I want to show you. The sponges come in one big circle. Get in there. Like so. And then I just take a scissors and cut them to whatever size. I like to have it to cut it into 8 pieces. I think for me that's a good size to use. So I'm just dabbing my sponge into my glue. And the most important thing about this is to keep it from moving so you don't end up with a sticky mess. And I got a sticky mess there because I didn't dab the glue off. Okay, I'm going to move this aside. Juggle. And then that has enough glue on the back that you can just line this up with the outline of your flowers. And then just don't push it down until you have it where you want it. I think that's about right. So I'm just going to tack that down. And I do have a bit of a sticky mess, so because this is such an intricate, kind of delicate piece, I don't want to use an ink eraser, so I'm just going to take my embossing buddy and I'm going to cheat a little bit and go over this. And the powder, the glue picks up the powder. And then it's not sticky anymore. Yay! So I'm going to turn this over. Just press it down on the back really well. You could use a bone folder, or you can just use your hand to really press that down. Like so, and then I would mount it onto the magenta. Like so. Now the other way that you could do this is by using some sticky sheet. So I do want to show you another way to put down this layer, but I also wanted to show you that I just keep this wedge of sponge in an airtight container and keep it off to the side. I can use that over and over and over again. And as far as my silicone mat, I just roll the adhesive off and it cleans up quite easily. I'll set that aside. But I want to show you some of the other some of the other color combinations. So this one is Bumblebee, Poppy Parade in the center. This is Shaded Spruce, and then I did the Sentiment and Poppy Parade, and it's mounted on Poppy Parade. And let's see, here's one that is Petal Pink, is this bottom layer, Flirty Flamingo on top of that, and it's mounted on soft seafoam. And you can see these little pearls. What I did was I just took one of the blends markers, and I actually did it in Petal Pink, this little one right here. You could use any kind of alcohol marker, but this is going to coordinate with colors. You could also do Flirty Flamingo, which was this one. I did the Petal Pink. I think the Flirty Flamingo would look really pretty also. But so that's an option to kind of dress it up a little bit, not that it really needs that much. Here's one. This is Gorgeous Grape for the very top outline. And what I did with this is actually vellum that I used for this heavier outline piece. And if you're going to use vellum, anytime you want to color vellum, you always want to color it on the back, because vellum doesn't absorb ink the way a regular cardstock or paper would. It just kind of sits on top, so it takes a very long time to dry. And to keep it from smudging or smearing or coming off on your project, it's best to color on the back of it, flip it over, and then you just get a more subtle coloring. And I like the way it's got different shades. I didn't try to do that on purpose. I just took a sponge dauber and, daubed ink on the back. And it's just, flowers aren't perfect, and it's just this very mottled, pretty color. And then I was going to mount it either on this gray granite, or I could do white, or I could mount it on Purple Posy, which is really pretty, which is kind of what I did here. This is Purple Posy that I mounted it on, Highland Heather, and Gorgeous Grape for the outline. I needed a sympathy card, and I just think this is very pretty, very soft and subtle. And I stamped the sentiment from the Well Said stamp set, just sending sympathy, and cut it out with a scissors, just using some scraps. So here's another one that I did on Purple Posy. Now this one I did tack down. This is also Versamark. Versamark. Vellum, sorry. This is also vellum cardstock, again sponged with Gorgeous Grape on the back. I did the leaves in some Granny Apple Green on the back again, and then I have my layer in Very Vanilla on top. And then I would just do a very simple greeting. I had my greeting here somewhere. Here's one, wrong color, but you're going to get the idea. I like the greetings that come with the stamp set because of the very simple font. I think it goes really well with the stamp set. But I would just put a greeting on there, and that would be good. This is another one, that I wanted to show you. This, I just took a piece of Whisper White and cut out this larger die. And then I sponged it with various colors. We have Gorgeous Grape, Magenta Madness, Flirty Flamingo. This is Crushed Curry, Petal Pink, Pool Party, and just like that is perfect. But I thought a white layer over top would just kind of, where did we go? We just kind of tie it all together and make it less of a color riot. So you could mount it on the white, or again, you could mount it on this gray granite, which is also beautiful. I think some sort of a fairly light, subtle color in the background. Smoky slate would be pretty. Lots of different possibilities. But one of the reasons I wanted to show you this particular one is, so this one doesn't have any adhesive on the back of it, no glue. But I wanted to give you an alternative of what you could use. I used the adhesive sheet. I called it sticky sheet before. Stampin'Up sells these. They come in 12 by 6 inch pieces, like so. And you just peel back the top layer, and then you would lay your cardstock there, put your die on top of it, cover this up because you don't want this any of the sticky to come off on the underside of your die cutting machine. And you would run it through your die cutting machine, and this is what you would get. Just kind of hold your ears, because I'm going to whack this on the side of my work table to get most of the pieces out from the back. You should see my floor. Oh my goodness. And then the rest of them, whatever doesn't come out, usually comes with the backing that you pull off. And if you have any left behind, let me just pull this out of here and put this aside. You just pick them up with your fingers fairly easily. This is the most time-consuming thing about this card, is just getting all the little pieces out of the die cut. But your fingers work really well. I've tried other things. You can poke out the little pieces with a pokey tool, which is what I would do if I didn't have the adhesive on here. And I would say I have most of those. And actually, before I put this on, let me just quickly put my glasses on. And I have no excuse, and I'm just going to hold this up for you. So I'm going to, again, line it up with the edge of the die cut. Go all the way around. Oops, here's one that didn't come out. And then obviously this would be on your card front, but since it's not going to go on this card front, I'm just going to lay this here. I'm going to run my bone folder over the back just so that it's tacked down really well. Okay, and you can also do a piece of sticky sheet for this larger background die. I didn't happen to do that. This one is easier. You could just, take your liquid glue and just dab some liquid glue onto some strategic points all around, and then again mount it on your card front. So, okay, so that's it. Oh, I did want to show you the adhesive sheets are kind of easy to miss in the catalog, and I wanted to show you real quick where they are. If I can flip through and find the page. They're on page 162. Whoops. And they're over here in the corner. They're just called adhesive sheets. There's 12 sheets. They're 6 by 12. And then I wanted to also show you, well, I was going to show you where the sponges were. And let's see, the sponges are on 147. helps to check the pages. So here are the sponges. They come in a pack of 3. Sponge daubers. So in case you're looking for, most of the tools are on page 146 and 147 of the 2020-2021 annual catalog. So I think that's it for now. I had a ton of fun playing with this for the last couple of days, and I think you will too. But that was, let me show you my finished card. I have that one, and somewhere in the mess I have my other one. And oh, here was one other that I wanted to show you. This is the new cinnamon cider that I did the flowers, cherry cobbler for the center, mossy meadow for the leaves, and then I did crumb cake for the overlay outline. And I only did the overlay. I didn't do the second die, but you certainly could. All kinds of fun combinations to do with this die set. But yeah, that is the July thank you card for my customers. So I will see you guys later. Happy stamping. So there were lots of good card color combinations. This is the card that I made to begin with. I never put together the rest of this card, so let's very quickly mount this on the Magenta Madness, which I love. It's really pretty hot. I'm a pink and purple girl, what can I say? But this is a hot pink that's just, I think, gorgeous. So I'm going to fold this. I obviously scored it before the video. And I'm just going to mount this on the front. And by doing it this way, instead of mounting the whole card front on a Magenta Madness card base, it just saves me a step of having to do, a piece on a mat on the inside to write on. I like this liquid glue. It gives me just a few seconds to zhuzh it around. So those are my 2 card samples. If you would please give this video a thumbs up, and that really helps me out. Hit the subscribe button, and if you also hit the bell icon to the right of the subscribe button, then YouTube will notify you anytime I post a new video to YouTube. If you would share with friends on Facebook or email if you think somebody might be interested in seeing this video, that would also be much appreciated. So I think that's it. Thanks for joining me, and happy stamping.